Hello, everyone, to this YouTube live stream about Google Display Network. My name is Hussein. I work as a performance specialist here in Google Dublin. And with me, I have my colleague, Romain.
Hello, everyone. So I'm Romain, working as an audience specialist for the French market.
So today's topic is automation, and we'll specifically dive into smart bidding and auto targeting and how they can help you both save time, but also improve the performance of your campaigns. This is the last session out of 5. We had a session last week on display and how to acquire new customers. We took a look at remarketing strategy, and then how do you optimize and maintain your campaigns. And then yesterday, we had a session on Gmail ads. We've decided today to talk about GDN automation. Some people might call it programmatic advertising, which basically means showing the right ads to the right person at the right time and doing all that automatically. We'll show you today how to do that in AdWords.
If you do have any question during the session, please feel free to write them down and send them. We will answer those questions at the end of the sessions.
Yeah, I think we'll have around 20-25 minutes content, and at the end of it, we'll do a Q&A. So just send your questions in, and we'll take them at the very end. So let me give you an overview of what we're going to talk about today. We've split it up into smart bidding, which helps you set the right bid for your display campaigns. And then we have auto targeting, which finds you additional customers at your current CPA or ROI targets. And within each of those buckets, we have a couple of features that we'll review today. All of this is enabled by having conversion tracking in your accounts. All of these features will work better if you have conversion tracking, because there'll be more data that we can use when we bid for users. And it will just you'll be able to kind of track how things are going. So let me describe a scenario where smart bidding would be a perfect fit. So you probably set up a display campaign before. You've had to decide what is the cost per click I want to pay. It might be €5, it might be €10, depending on the value to your business. On top of that, you might have a location modifier. You might have a device modifier. So if someone is on mobile, you might want to pay more. If someone is in a certain location, you might want to pay more or less. So it kind of adds up after a while, right? All these different modifiers. And you also have to maintain this daily, weekly, and monthly. So it's a lot of manual work to maintain all this. And this is exactly where smart bidding would be a really, really good place to start, because not only will it manage all of this, it will also improve the performance of the campaigns. So I think let's get started with the smart bidding.
Definitely. So just to give you another view about smart bidding and how it works. Basically, when we talk about smart bidding, we mean that you're not going to manage the bid anymore, but you will let an algorithm adjust the bid for you. So basically, it's a machine learning algorithms that will adjust the bid for each and every auction. So in other words, it means that it's real-time bidding for your display campaign in AdWords. And this real-time bidding is based on hundreds of signals that we have on the users, and that allow the algorithm to assess the value of each and every auction to adjust the bid accordingly. So talking about those signals, here is a subset of these signals. And so you have like different, let's say, categories of signals. You have everything related to the behavior of your users. For example, the recency of the visit. Has she visited other websites before, and what kind of websites? A second category around the characteristic of the users, like the device, the age, gender, and so on. And also everything related to the context of the users. For example, what is the content she's viewing on the website? What is the time of day, the day of the week, or the very format of the ad that is shown? And all of those signals are taken into account in real time for the algorithm to adjust the bid accordingly.
Yeah, and I think one thing to point out, as I said before, taking all of these things into account is just unmanageable, I think, for one person, and especially doing that in real time, right? So that's kind of the power of it.
And so if you want to use those machine learning algorithms and the signals in AdWords, you have basically 3 main options which are there. So eCPC, also known as enhanced CPC, target CPA, and target ROAS, ROAS meaning return on ad spend. So, and each of these options are different goals. eCPC is a way to optimize your bid against the likelihood of the user to convert. So basically it will look for the volumes, for the conversions given your budget, and optimize the number of conversions given your budget. But if you are more interested in optimizing for the cost per each acquisition, you want to use target CPA. Basically, you define a target of cost for each conversions, and the algorithm will optimize the bids based on that. And finally, the last option is target ROAS. Target ROAS takes both into account the cost per acquisitions, but also the revenues generated for each and every conversions. So it's basically optimized against the return on investment on your campaign. There are some specificities for each of these options. eCPC basically is the features that you can plug on top of your manual CPC strategy, and it will adjust a bit for each and every option, up to 30% more maximum CPC, sorry, if the user is likely to convert. On the other hand, the target ROAS has a constraint of a minimum of conversions needed for it to be applied to a campaign. So if you want to use target ROAS, you need to have at least 50 conversions per month per ad group in order to give the algorithm enough data at the beginning so it can adjust the bid and optimize the bid of the campaign.
And also, you would need to import the value of the basket size or the product value, so it can determine, okay, what is the value of this conversion if I bid on it.
Yeah, and you can do this through conversion tracking.
Exactly.
And so we tested those features at Google, and we saw incredible performances when using them. Basically, when you use eCPC, you can get up to 10% more volumes for the same or better CPA on a given campaign. It goes up to 20% more conversions when you're using target CPA. And when using target ROAS, we saw like 30% higher conversion value. So it means basically revenues for your campaign.
Yeah.
So these tools are incredible in terms of performances on top of the time it saves you on a daily basis when managing the campaign.
I actually know for specific for remarketing campaigns or retargeting campaigns on GDN, it's actually 40% higher conversion value just because it has so much data to bid on. So if you have any remarketing campaigns, make sure you and have enough data and so on, use target ROAS wherever you can.
Definitely. But let's see how you can implement those features in AdWords.
Cool. So if you're already kind of sold on the idea of both saving time but also getting this kind of amazing performance, this is how you would implement enhanced CPC in the AdWords UI. So go into your campaign settings, go down to bid strategy, click on edit. If you have manual CPC right now, you can see that there, and just enable enhanced CPC. In this way, you would still be able to kind of adjust the CPC if you need to, but this would kind of get you a little bit of the power of some of our algorithms. If you want to implement target CPA or target ROAS, it's the exact same thing, campaign settings, edit, bid strategy. In this case, you can choose target CPA or target ROAS, and this is done on a campaign level in this case. If you want to do that at ad group level, that is also a possibility. So let's go to the next one here. If you go into shared library, bid strategies, and then click on the bid strategy button, you'll be able to define a target ROAS strategy or a target CPA strategy, and then you can apply that to any ad group. And you might think, okay, when and why should I do ad group versus a campaign level bid strategy? So if the CPA or ROAS targets in the campaign is the same across all ad groups, it would make sense to do it at a campaign level. But if you have different CPA or ROI targets, depending on which ad group it is, you might want to apply different bid strategies on each ad group, right? So if you have that, you could do that at ad group level. If you don't and want to keep it simple, you could do that at a campaign level. And then let's say you want to implement it, let's give you here an example of how would you determine what the bid should be for target CPA or target ROAS. In this example, we have a fictional campaign, 2 ad groups, and over the last 30 days, you can see the conversion numbers, the CPA, and the ROAS numbers. Let's take ad group 2, 95 conversions is quite a lot of conversions over 30 days. So in this case, we would say, you know what, I want to have a target ROAS of 670%, because that is what it got in the last 30 days. If we look at ad group 1, we have 34 conversions. The CPA was 35. So I'm going to say the CPA target should be 35 euros in the future. And the system will then optimize for those numbers. And let's say you've done this, you've now kind of picked out the goal. We'll now kind of go into some of the best practices of, cool, how do you actually manage this kind of going forward?
Yeah. So when it comes to best practices, keep in mind that you're not managing bids anymore. You're actually managing the algorithm itself. And so the key message on top of every best practices is be gentle with the algorithm. It's a machine learning algorithm, so it will need data and some time to learn and to understand the pattern of the users given your specific business and specific campaigns. So basically what you will have when you implement target CPA or target ROAS, for example, on a campaign, you will have a learning period at the beginning of the implementation. It means that the algorithm is gathering data and running some test and learn to understand what the pattern are and to find the appropriate bid strategies to given your goal, given your target. The learning period is usually 2 to 3 weeks, but it may vary depending on the volume of conversion you get. For example, if you're a lead provider generating thousands of conversions per day, then this period will be much shorter because it will give more data. So it will goes up to a week, for example. If you get less conversions, like 30 to 50 conversions per ad group per month, this learning period can last for 3 or 4 weeks. And this is perfectly normal. It's just some time for the algorithm to learn. And after the learning period, then you can actually assess the results of the bid strategies and eventually adjust it if you want to adjust target, for example.
Yeah. So you basically have someone working from you, and you need to give them some time to learn the craft. Yeah.
That's exactly the point. But this is a theory, but you can actually see those periods in your AdWords account. So again, if you go to a share library and bid strategies, and then you click on a specific bid strategy you defined, you will end up on a dashboard like this. And it will give you the performances of the target, the bid strategy, sorry. So for example, here, this is a target CPA bid strategy with a target of $20 in CPA, and it generated 450 conversions over the last 30 days. And so below those figures, you have a chart, and this chart shows how the algorithm is performing. And more specifically, you can see there the learning phases for the algorithm. And so you have the initial learning period, which is quite short here because there are lots of conversions, hundreds of conversions. And then the algorithms perform very well over time. What you can notice is that there is 2 other periods in the chart. A limited period, it probably means that the budget of the campaign was limited at the moment. And it's not very good because it's limiting your opportunities of business here. And then you can see the red line, and there is an increase in terms of the CPA target up to $25 something. So it means that the manager of the campaign changed the CPA targets. And so after that, you can see that there is another learning period. And this is very important because the algorithm is optimizing your bids given a specific context, a specific settings. So anytime you change the settings of the campaign, especially the targets, the algorithm will need to learn again. But those learning periods are shorter, but still you need to wait for some days, some weeks sometimes, for the algorithms to find the performances again.
And I think one thing to point out here is the blue chart is the average CPA, the red one is the target CPA. You can see as this advertiser, this example, in mid-April, bumps up the target CPA. It looks like from 20 to, let's say, 25. The blue line, which is the average CPA, it goes up for like a week, and then it goes down again and hits that target CPA over the next 2 weeks. I think some advertisers would panic a little bit after that 1 week of higher CPA. But again, give it some time to learn, because at the end of it, you'll hit your target CPA, and you'll probably get a lot more volume, in terms of conversions.
And do not forget that anytime you may wonder on the performances of the algorithms, you can go to shared library, bid strategies, and end up on a chart like this, and you will see how it performs.
Yeah.
So in terms of managing the targets, again, let's say you implement a target CPA, and the average CPA over the last 30 days is 30 euros. So you implement target CPA with a 30 euros target at the beginning. But your real target, the actual target you want to achieve as an advertiser, is 18 euros. Do not go directly to 18 euros, because it will shock the algorithm, and the algorithm will need to cut the volumes by like 10 times, 100 times to make sure to focus on the users that matches this 80 euros. And so you will lose a lot of volumes and then a lot of revenues. Instead, what you want to do is to go step by step toward the real target. So we recommend 10 to 20% increase or decrease per week for the algorithm to adjust accordingly.
Yeah.
So here you will start with 30 euros, then 27 euros on the second week, and so on and so forth, until you reach your actual target of 80 euros target CPA.
Yeah. And I think one thing to mention is, as we said before, the system is learning. So if in the last 30 days you had a CPA of 30 euros, that's what the system have learned. If you then cut it immediately to 18, you don't give the system any time to learn. So that's why we recommend incrementals of 10% or up to 20% up or down. Give it some time to learn at each step, so you at the end of it still keep your volume, but maybe have a new CPA target.
Yeah. And that's pretty much it for smart bidding. Maybe we should talk about it with the targeting.
Yeah. So if you have any questions about smart bidding, please send them in. We'll answer them at the very end of the session. I'll say a little bit on auto targeting, how they can help you. So if you currently have any display campaigns where you see good performance and you want more conversions at that same CPA or ROI targets, you can use either conservative or aggressive auto targeting. Let's look at some of the numbers for these two features. If you enable conservative auto targeting in your display campaigns, you can actually get up to 20% more conversions at the same ROI or CPA. And for aggressive auto targeting, you can actually get up to 50% more conversions at a similar ROI. So with conservative, we hit that ROI CPA target very well. With aggressive auto targeting, you might have a little bit of deviation, but you'll have to kind of think about, is it worth it in terms of getting 50% more conversion volume? And I think the deviation is between 5 to 10% in terms of your ROI or your CPA targets. And one thing to mention here is, if you set up a campaign in the last year or two, you'll automatically have conservative auto targeting. But if you want to kind of upgrade to aggressive auto targeting, there's a minimum requirement in terms of having conversion tracking, but also having 15 conversions per month. I think we recommend having maybe more than 50 conversions, just so you have more data to find additional customers. But this is a really, really cool tool. So if you want to implement it in AdWords, this is what you need to do. Go into display network, summary, and then hit the targeting button. And then here you can kind of see if you want to allow AdWords to go out and find additional customers. Again, conservative should be automatically opted in. But if you want to upgrade to aggressive, you can do that in here just by choosing it. Really, really simple. And then if you want to look at some of the reporting on it, go into the placements tab and then segment by targeting modes. And here at the bottom of the page, you can see auto targeted, which shows what kind of placements and what kind of performance have the auto targeting option actually gone out and found. In this case, 103 clicks with a better CTR than the normal manual targeting.
And this is really important because it's where you can see the incrementality of other features.
Exactly.
The actual conversions or click. you get on top of your normal campaign.
Yeah, and if I had to give a couple of kind of tips on auto targeting, it would be one, just like with smart bidding, give it some time to learn. So if you enable it, give it a week without any changes for it to learn kind of in that structure and context. And then when you evaluate the performance, give it 2 weeks to go out and find customers and then for them to convert, right? So give it some time. And then the second option would be, keep in mind if you do, when you get additional volume, that you're not budget capped, because then you limit both the number of conversions you can get, but also the amount of learning the system can have over, over time. So make sure you're not capped on budget for your display campaigns when you enable this. I think that was it.
Yeah, just a last thing we wanted to mention here about both smart bidding and auto targeting. We talked about the incredible performances you can get using those automation features, but you do not have to take our word for granted. You now have the possibility to use draft and experiment for the display campaign in AdWords. Basically, draft and experiments allows you to split the traffic of your campaign. Actually, it splits the impressions you get on the campaign. And so you can create a control group and a test group. For example, splitting the impression 50%, 50%, or 80%, 20%. It's your choice, but the point is you can create a test group, apply the automation feature on the test group, like smart bidding, for example. You let the campaign runs for 3, 4, 5 weeks. Again, do not forget about the learning period. It's really important. And then after the learning period, you have a control group and a test group, and you can actually compare the performances and see how automation performs compared to the normal manual CPC bidding, for example. And so this is really important if you want to measure the impact or the incrementality of these features for both smart bidding and auto targeting. And that's pretty much it. So just to wrap up, we talked about automation in GDN with 2 main features: smart bidding that allows you to use real-time bidding on each and every auction on your GDN campaign, and auto targeting that allows you to expand your reach by targeting new users on top of the one you're already touching through your campaigns. If you have any questions, maybe we have already got some, but please feel free to write them down and we'll answer them.
I think there's a delay of maybe 30 seconds from what we're seeing to what you're kind of hearing. So we'll give you some time to kind of ask the questions, but let's see what we have here. So we do have one question here. How does smart bidding handle multiple conversions? For example, sometimes conversions are defined on MCC level. I think as far as I know, we don't have anything on an MCC level. So you'll have to kind of pick one, action or conversion that you want to track in AdWords, that one account, and then optimize towards that. It might come in the future in terms of picking multiple things you can optimize for.
Yeah, I don't know when.
Sorry?
I don't know when.
Yeah, I don't know when. It's something we've been asked before, and something we would be really, really nice to kind of have multiple things we can optimize for at the same time. But as it is right now, you'll have to kind of pick one thing in your AdWords account and then optimize toward that. Let's give it a couple of seconds to see if there's anything else.
When you said be gentle with AdWords, how exactly would you recommend we go about it? Be gentle with AdWords or with the algorithms. I meant do not change everything all the time. This is a different mindset when you use automation. When you're on manual CPC, for example, you can change your bid like 10 times a day, 1,000 times a day if you want to. And it's not the same thing when you use an algorithm. When you use an algorithm, you set a first target, and then you do not touch anything for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and you just monitor the results and let the algorithms learn and improve the results.
Yeah.
And after 2 to 3 weeks, then you assess the performances. And if you're not happy with the performances, then you can adjust your target CPA or your target ROAS, for example. And then again, you stop touching settings, and you let the algorithm does its work. So that's what I mean with be gentle. It's just like, yeah, it's a different state of mind when it comes to monitoring. You cannot adjust from one day to the other. You just put a target, assess, and then put another target, and so on and so forth.
Yeah, I think if for some reason you want to make a lot of changes, enhanced CPC could be the way to go, because there you can adjust the CPC and you'll still get some of the benefits of smart bidding. But if you know what your CPA is, and that's a stable CPA or ROI target, then target CPA is definitely the way to go. In terms of being gentle, it's just every time you make some kind of change, you'll have to take that input into account and then adjust the way it bids. Today I create my first Gmail ads campaign. I should run big strategy, just like what we talked about before. And by the way, we'll send an email after this with all the previous sessions. Yesterday, we talked about Gmail ads, and we talked about kind of bidding in Gmail campaigns. Just like we talked about now, and just like they talked about yesterday, you see a really, really good performance if you have a pretty wide targeting in terms of Gmail ads, and then use automated bidding or smart bidding to say my CPA is this, or my ROI target is this. So pick out just like we did now, and then use either one of the smart bidding options you have available. And
in general, beyond just the Gmail case, when you're a performance-oriented advertiser or an agency working for a performance-oriented advertiser, you're looking for conversions, cost of sales, stuff like that. Use automation on display, especially smart bidding, because it will improve the performances a lot on display. And so either it's on Gmail or the entire display network, when you get the minimum amount of volumes of conversions, just go for it. Go use target CPA, go use target ROAS, and you will see incredible performances.
Yeah. There's one question in terms of what is, will the algorithm learn if changes are done to other variables like ad copy? Yes. I think what we recommend is if you make a change to the ad copy, you leave the old one, I think, for a day, and then the system will kind of learn to transition to the new one. And then after a day or two, you can kind of pause the first one, and then you'll kind of learn from the new one. But that is a new input. So again, if you do that, give it some time to learn, and go into your shared library, bid strategy, and there you'll be able to see if it's in the ramp up phase or if it's already kind of running smoothly. So yeah, any kind of new inputs, you'll have to kind of relearn things a little bit. Nothing too major, but any kind of change, it might take a day or two for it to kind of be ramped up again.
There's again a question around the multiple type of conversions. So just again, the algorithm will optimize based on the conversions you selected in the conversion column. And so depending on the conversions that are integrated in this column, the algorithm will take that figures and optimize based on that.
Yeah. Is there any last one question? Otherwise, I think that is it for today. All right. I think that's it. So thank you very much. We'll send up a follow-up email with also the previous videos and presentations. And I hope you kind of learned about how to implement things and the value of it in terms of smart bidding and automation in GDN. And I guess we'll see you at some point again. Yeah. Thank you for joining.
See you.
Bye-bye.